Hey guys, it's Anna aka the Hazina Girl, and today we're going to be talking about Akamonkai, which is the Japanese language school that I went to when I was in Tokyo, and it's the Japanese school that I actually planned on going to next week. Yay! If you guys haven't seen my last video, then you probably don't know this, but I will be moving to Tokyo on July 4th. I'll be arriving in Tokyo, and I'm planning to go to the Japanese school called Akamonkai, which is an amazing Japanese school. It's the Japanese school that I went to last year when I was there for 3 months. And yeah, I thought I would answer some of your questions because I've gotten questions on my blog, I've gotten questions on my YouTube channel, so I thought I would kind of compile them and answer them for you guys here. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so question number 1 is, how do you prepare for the placement test? Now that's a really good question. The truth is, I did not do the placement test when I went to Akamonkai last year. I just kind of showed up and was like, hey guys, place me in the beginner class because I don't know what my Japanese level is. So yeah, I actually don't know what the placement test looks like, but this time around when I'm going to be going back again, I do plan on taking the placement test. And I would say that the best advice I can give to you, based on like what I found out from my friends and stuff who did take the placement test, is that you should definitely study the basics, like study what you already know. I'm going to show you guys a couple papers from some work that I did last year, and this is what I plan on studying before going back and doing the placement test this time around. So if you know basic Japanese, this should be pretty, like, you know, common stuff to you. Like, this would be something that you already know about. But if you don't know any of the stuff that I'm about to mention, then it means that you probably will be placed in the beginner test, and there's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, it's better to start from scratch and then work your way up than like be placed in a level where you don't really understand things. So yeah, anyway, so I'll show you guys. So this is some of the stuff that I plan on studying. So futsuke, naike, meishi, which is like nouns into verbs kind of thing. And then, yeah, being able to translate it or to kind of conjugate it into past tense and into the informal tense as well. So this is kind of the paper. I don't even know if this is upside down. Sorry if you guys can't read that or if it's upside down. Yeah. And then there's other things too, a lot of simple stuff like different times, right? So in Japanese, when you say the time, there's like different exceptions, things like that. Different, yeah, days of the week, days of the month, especially days of the month actually. I remember that's something that we went over like several times because days of the month in Japanese are very particular, so I printed out this huge calendar for us. So yeah, there you go. It's like days of the week, and then you have to know like 1日、2日、3日、4日、5日、what's it called, 6日, then so on and so forth all the way up until like 10, which is all the exceptions, and then the rest of the days of the week basically. So yeah, that's what I plan on studying. These are actually the only papers that I brought back with me from my from all the notes that I took during the time that I was there. But I know that's because this is like the basic things. This is like stuff that you should know by heart kind of stuff. I personally already knew before, like when I went to Japan, I knew a decent amount of kanji, and you know, going in wasn't too difficult for me because we started out, they taught us basic hiragana, katakana, and then they taught us basic kanji, so it was pretty simple for me to catch up with everything. But I did have a lot of friends who had studied no kanji, no hiragana, no katakana, and when they went, they had a really tough time because they do expect you to know at least like hiragana and katakana. Like at least if you can study those two, then you can have a pretty good head start. But if you start from bare or minimum scratch, you might have a little bit of a hard time. So yeah, I suggest to you that if you're a complete beginner, at least study hiragana and katakana to a point where you're like able to read it and recognize it pretty quickly. And if you already know hiragana, katakana, kanji, then study the basics of Japanese. So like, you know, how to conjugate verbs in different tenses, and you know, basic things like time, dates, stuff like that, basic words, vocabulary words. And that's the best advice I think I can give you for studying for the placement test. Other than that, don't try to like study things that you don't already know to try to get ahead, because there's really no point to that. Like, you're better off being placed in a class where you where you know things. And like Akamonkai is really good with giving tests that are kind of like with trick questions to make sure that you really understand it properly. Like, they won't ask you really easy stuff that they know that you already know. They'll ask you the trick questions to make sure that you get it 100%. So yeah, you're better off just starting at the beginning if you know that you're a beginner and not trying to rush things. That's my advice. I hope that answers that question. It's a bit long, but yeah. Alright, question number 2. Is it high intensity? And did I struggle / fall behind? The answer to that is yes and no. I think that the class is high intensity if you're the type of person who takes time to study. Now, the beauty of Akamonkai is that they do separate you into 2 different groups. So for the first month, you guys are like, everybody's placed together, but then you do a test and then you get placed into a fast class or a slow class. So if you're somebody who takes your time to learn, then you might be placed in a slow class, and then, you know, you might feel more comfortable learning at your own pace. However, that being said, that doesn't necessarily mean that it will be your pace. It really depends on your learning style, because Akamonkai does teach pretty quickly, I think, but it's a speed that I was okay with, but a lot of my friends were not okay with. Like, I had friends who went to Akamonkai and ended up switching schools when they went back to Japan again because they just didn't like the speed at which we were learning. So honestly, it's kind of like you have to take the risk and just see what it's like for yourself. That's why I went for 3 months first before committing to going for a whole year and a half, because I wanted to see what the speed was like and I wanted to see how much I would like it before, you know, committing to it 100%. And I suggest that if you're really doubtful about the speed and the intensity level, that you should kind of do the same. But for the most part, the only thing that is kind of hard to catch up with, and the only times I feel like I fell back a little bit or fell behind a little bit, was when it came to homework. Because in class we would learn at a decent speed, you know, we would have conversations, we'd talk, we'd go over stuff, and it was nice. But then at night we would have like a lot of homework to do. Now, like, they wouldn't give us like a stack or anything like that, but they would give us like a decent amount of papers to do, and if you didn't do your homework for one day, the homework would just keep stacking up, and eventually you would fall really behind. And I remember that happened to me a couple times, and it does affect you when you do tests, because, you know, homework is practice, so you want to keep up with that as much as you can. So yeah, if you are the type of person who doesn't like to do homework, you don't like to really follow up what you learned in class, then it may be a little bit difficult for you to catch up. But if you're really motivated, and if you do the homework and you keep up with what they teach you in class, and you take a lot of notes and you pay attention, you should be good. It's not too difficult. I wouldn't say it's like extremely high intensity. It's manageable if you're motivated and you want to push yourself. Is there a lot of homework? I guess I technically answered that in the past question. The answer is yes, there's a lot of homework. Yeah, just make sure to do it on a daily basis and you'll be able to catch up with it. A lot of times the homework consisted of like 1 grammar practice, maybe like 2 pages of kanji to learn for the day, 2 pages with like several kanji I'm talking about, like, but it was decent though, because we learned a lot of them in class already. It was just like a practice, and then maybe a couple like kind of exercises to practice maybe the new lesson that you've learned for that day. But yeah, for the most part, there was a decent amount of homework. You had to really catch up with it every single day, or else you'd fall behind. Question number 4: how big are the classes? The classes are pretty decent. The first class that I had was like, I think we were like 20 people, and then the second class we were like 25. I went from being in just like an everybody mixed all together class to the fast class is what I was moved to. And yeah, in the fast class there was about 25 of us, so it was a decent number. Like, it's not like we're like a huge auditorium full of people. I would say 25 is a pretty decent number, but yeah, we were about 25 of us, so not too big. Question number 5: how are your teachers? The teachers were pretty good, I would say. Like, it depends on the teacher. Some of them would teach us really slowly. Like I said, I was in the fast class, so the teachers that taught really slowly were kind of annoying. But other than that, the rest of the teachers were pretty good. Some of them were kind of strict. Some of them were super nice. It really depends on the person. Like, I can't really tell you what all the teachers were like, because obviously I didn't have all the teachers. But the ones that I had were pretty decent. I learned really well with them, and they do try their best to like explain to you in depth if you have questions. And you can always go to them after class is over and ask them to explain something to you, and they'll definitely do it. And they're also really good with helping with personal problems. So if ever there's anything that's bothering you, if anything that you want to talk about, they're the best people to go to. The people at the front desk as well, like the kind of secretaries, they're the best people to go to as well, and they will try their best to help you out with whatever situation you may have. Also, I don't know what this is. There's like a weird hole. Oh, I think it's the reflection of the sun. Yeah, sorry about that, don't mind that. Question number 6: how is the class taught? The classes are taught in 4-hour segments, I believe. Yeah, so the first like 15 minutes or so is for kanji / vocab that we already learned from the previous week, and then we go over the kanji that we also practiced in our homework. And then we have like a session for maybe about an hour, so that's like the review of what we've learned in the previous day. And then the next day we'll go over like a new lesson. So a lot of times we did it in like 2-day fragments. It depends on what class you're put into. I think if you're in the slow class, it's like 3-day segments. So like you spend 1 day learning the new lesson, and the second and third day you review the lesson that you did. And then you keep going like that. So 3 days, 1 lesson, 3 days, 1 lesson, like that. And for the fast class, I think it's like 2 days, 1 lesson. So the first day you learn the lesson, second day you review it, third day you do a new lesson, fourth day you review it, and so on and so forth. And by the way, if you guys are curious, the book that they use for the classes is Minna no Nihongo. Minna no Nihongo is like everybody's Japanese in English, I guess is what it's called. I don't know. I don't think there's like an English translation per se, but the books that we used were completely in Japanese because obviously everyone is from different countries, so they can't like, they can't really like make a translated book for everybody, so they just give you a Japanese one. And as intimidating as that may sound, you eventually get really used to it, and it becomes like extra helpful that everything is in Japanese because you just learn like 2 times faster. So yeah, that's the book that we used, and it's a pretty simple book to follow along with. I really liked it personally. And yeah, how are the dorms? That's question number 7, I believe. The dorms are actually not that bad. I had a dorm that was actually kind of different from everyone else. It's called A House. And I know I've gotten some questions on my blog about A House, which, yeah, hopefully I can answer them here. But basically, A House is a special dorm that is recently bought by Akamonkai, the school. And it's essentially an apartment complex that has been transformed into a dorm. So if you're at A House, most likely you'll have one big spacious room with a kitchen, a bathroom, and then just kind of like a bedroom / desk area, living area, and a lot of times you'll be sharing that place with another person. Actually, you will be sharing that place with another person, because that's how it was for me and my neighbors as well. So yeah, the great thing about that place is that it's right across the street from the school, which is awesome. I loved it because like literally it was like I woke up and then I walked across the street and I was at school. The only downside to the place is that because it's so spacious, a lot of times it was either really warm or really cold, so you had to adjust to that. It wasn't that bad really, but yeah, it got a little frustrating at times. And the other thing too is that 2 things surprised me, and I think maybe I'll make like a separate video talking about this, but I have like very low tolerance for insects, so I saw insects like a couple times and I just lost it every single time. But of course I couldn't change dorms, so I just had to suck it up and stay there. But regardless of where you go, bugs are there, so that's not something that should prevent you from going to A House if you're interested. But yeah, I had to deal with that. I did not like it, and so because of that, this time around I am not going back to A House. I will be going to the Nippori dorms, which I prefer because it's really close to the school as well, and this time I'll be having a single room. So you have the choice to be either in a single room or a double room. Last time I went with a double room and I really loved it. I had an amazing roommate who I loved, but this time around, yeah, just because I know I'll be there for a longer amount of time, I wanted to get my own room, so I'll be going to Nippori dorm. There's actually 2 dorms that you can choose from if you want to live by yourself. There's either Minami Koen, which is just for girls, and then there's the Nippori dorm, which is for guys and girls, and is a little bit closer to the school than Minami Koen. Minami Koen's like 15-minute walk, and then Nippori dorm is like 5-minute walk, and A House is like 2-second walk. So yeah, it's really awesome. And then the last dorm, which also has double rooms, is Higashi dorm. I think it's called Higashi. Yeah, Higashi dorm. And that dorm has double rooms. I've never been there before though, so I'm not really sure what it's like. I was supposed to go there, but in the end I went to A House. So yeah, hopefully when I go there, I will be able to show you guys what each dorm room or what each dorm complex looks like, so you guys can get an idea. All right, now the before last question, which is the 9th question. How is Akamonkai overall? I want to say that Akamonkai overall is a really amazing school. Personally, I think that one of the main reasons why a lot of people choose Akamonkai is because the tuition is one of the lowest amongst all of the other Japanese schools in Tokyo. It's only about 150,000 yen, which is the equivalent of about 2,000 Canadian dollars, which is really inexpensive for just 3 months if you're going as a tourist for 3 months. And there's a plane. All right, we'll give it a second. Airplane. Touches of living close to an airport. So yeah, for 3 months it's only 150,000 yen. For a whole year and a half, I know for every 6 months, I think it's about 335,000 yen. Yeah, 335,000 yen, which is roughly 4,000 Canadian dollars, I think. So it's actually really not that bad. Of course, it's a lot less expensive than taking a university course, which was an option that I was weighing before I went to Japan, but I ended up not going with that because it's way too expensive. But yeah, Akamonkai is definitely the cheapest Japanese language school in all of Tokyo, and their program is pretty amazing. So yeah, overall I think Akamonkai is a great school, and if you're looking to study Japanese in Japan, even if it's just for a couple months, I definitely highly recommend Akamonkai. Oh, and I guess that answers my last question, which is, would you recommend Akamonkai to other people? The answer is yes. I would definitely recommend Akamonkai to everybody who's interested in studying Japanese in Japan. It's a school that has amazing staff. The building itself is really decent. There's like a decent amount of space for you know, the amount of students that are there. They have 2 different campuses as well, which is awesome. There's a main one and then the Nippori one. So the main one is like where everybody goes, and the Nippori, there's like, I'm not sure if it's the people who have long-term programs or not. But anyways, yeah, there's some people who go to Nippori campus as well. So you have 2 campuses, which is great. They have amazing staff, really nice dorms, and overall, it's just a really great school. So if you're interested in going to Akamonkai and you have a bunch of questions, definitely make sure to check the description box. I'll have like my email below. You can email me and I'll try to answer you as best as I can. And then there's also my blog and of course the comments here on YouTube. So make sure to leave your comments down below and I will try my best to answer them as best as I can. Yeah. I hope you guys liked this video, and if you did, make sure to thumbs it up and don't forget to subscribe as well. Bye! So, they knew me so well that they actually pushed it back by an hour but didn't tell me because they knew I was going to be late.
Half an hour.
Yeah, I know, but still.
We're somewhat kind.
Yeah.
Always. One thing about Sano, you need to know she's always late.
I try not to be, okay? Like, it's not like I do it on purpose or something. It just happens that way. Yeah. Hey guys.